Okay, I'd like to go ahead and call the regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting for November the 13th, 2014 to order, and let the record show that all commissioners are present with the exception of Chairman Hamilton. And I'd like to ask Commissioner Ludden to please lead us in the flag salute. Would you all please rise? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, this is the time in our meeting when we offer the public who is attending an opportunity to address the Commission on any items that are not on tonight's agenda. And is there anyone here tonight, not today, but tonight, that's close enough, right? It's still the same date, that would like to address the Commission on an item that is not on tonight's agenda? Okay, seeing none, that will move us on to our presentation items. And the first item is our consent calendar.
I move to approve as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, let's go ahead and vote. All right, that will take us to our public hearing items. And these are opportunities the public does have a chance to speak to us. If you do want to speak, you will be allowed a 3-minute time to speak, and we do encourage you to do so if you're so inclined. With that, our first item.
Yes, our first item is minor plan sign program, and Cheryl Kuda has a brief report for you.
Good evening, Vice Chair Hamilton and members of the Commission. The item before you is a plan sign program for the Brookfield El Paseo residential project. As stated in the staff report, all residential projects require a minor plan sign program, and this particular plan sign program proposes a single project identification sign at the main entrance to the project. The sign is simple and consistent with the project architecture. It's integrated with the perimeter fence along Auto Center Drive, and additional details regarding the sign can be found in your staff report. We also have a material sample here to Commissioner Ludden's right. It's kind of heavy, but you can pass it down if you'd like. It's a this shows the color of the stone that has been used on the wall where the sign will be located. And that concludes staff's presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay, I think we have one speaker card. Yes, no? Not on this item? Okay. Well, let's go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anyone that wanted to address the Commission on this item? Okay, well, seeing none, let's bring it back up here. Any questions for staff? Any comments? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the El Paseo sign.
I'll second.
Okay. Move.
I'll also make a motion to close the public hearing.
Add that to it. All right, that sounds good. All right, any other comments? Okay, moved in second. Let's go ahead and vote. Motion passes. All right. I'm sorry? I did. I abstained. Yes. Okay, that'll take us to our item number 3.
Item number 3 is a tentative track map and a site development permit for the Knolls 2 at Baker Ranch Planned Community. And Ron Santos has a staff report this evening.
Good evening, Commissioners.
This item is a request for a tentative tract map and site development permit for residential use in the Shea Baker Ranch. The project is located east of the Alton Parkway Monarch Street intersection. The proposed map subdivides the 14-acre site into 102 lots for single-family homes and 9 lots for private alleys, perimeter slopes, and a small park. The building lots average 2,675 square feet and are typically 45 feet wide by 60 feet deep. The circulation system for the tract consists of public streets as the primary travelways with 26-foot wide alleys providing direct access to the homes, each of which includes a 2-car garage. The plan also includes 74 off-street parking spaces distributed throughout the project, as well as 55 spaces on the public street, for a total of 333 parking spaces, which exceeds the city's standard by 7 for the tract, 7 parking spaces. The homes take direct access off 26-foot wide alleys, as I mentioned, which, along with the public streets, provide through circulation for the tract. The alleys also provide direct access to shared use parking spaces distributed throughout. The proposed alleys would be paved with decorative stone as pictured in the staff report. The site development permit provides for development of 1 2-story detached home on each lot with 3 plan types in either a 3-bedroom or a 4-bedroom configuration, with homes ranging in size from 1,578 square feet to 1,671 square feet. The project is intended to meet a demand for housing in a density range that falls between conventional large lot single-family housing and attached or multifamily housing. As mentioned in the staff report, the project is very similar to the original Knowles project, which is currently Shea's best-selling project in the Shea Baker Ranch. The proposed units feature architecture consistent with the Spanish architectural theme described in the area plan, with 3 variations on that theme and 9 complementary color and material schemes. The project also includes block wall fencing and at side and rear yards, and view fencing along the rear yards backing to Monarch and Alton. Staff is recommending a condition of approval that would require incorporation of pilasters in that view fencing for the purpose of matching fencing that's on other segments of Alton and Monarch. As detailed in the staff report, as proposed, the project complies with the general plan, land use and density standards, as well as applicable goals and policies, the subdivision code, zoning code, and planned community standards, and area plan design guidelines for architecture and landscaping. Accordingly, staff is recommending approval of the project as proposed based on the findings in the draft resolution and subject to the standard conditions of approval. It should be noted that the project is also subject to conditions of approval adopted in conjunction with the approval of the Shea Baker Ranch Area Plan and Tentative Tract Map 16466, a copy of which is provided as an attachment to your staff reports. To date, no public comments have been received regarding this project, and with that I'll conclude my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, any questions for staff?
The last time we did a Baker Ranch project, we ended up with a change that we had to make to change the lot line clearance for air conditioners, to the setback for air conditioners. I noticed on these maps that the air conditioners are still at the back of the lot. Is that going to come up and be an issue again?
If you give me a second, let me review that and I'll get back to you. Actually, in this case, the air conditioning units would comply with the setback requirement as proposed.
And if the owner wanted to move it off the back of the property onto the side, would he still be able to do that?
Potentially on some of the lots that have side yards that are wider than 5 feet. As you might recall, the Shea has two different models for their air conditioning units. There's a slimline unit and a wider unit. The side yard setbacks are typically 5 feet, but some of the units would have wider yards. Say, for example, 89 that's at the end and has a 12-foot side yard, so you could accommodate it there in either configuration. But generally speaking, you're not going to be able to fit the units in the side yard.
Okay. I guess they'll just have to understand that when they buy it. They're probably not going to get a pass on this one.
You know, I think you probably wouldn't be able to fit those in the side yard even with the 3-foot setback, because at a 5-foot setback, that leaves you 2 feet for the unit, and you need some space in between the building and the unit. And
okay. I saw I'd raise that question since it came up the last time.
Yeah, I noticed that there are a number of 3- and 4-foot setbacks, and so obviously we can't have any kind of adjustment there, which is good. I have a question. I know when we did the original approvals on these projects, including this one, we talked about parking management plans. Do you know that there's going to be a parking management plan in effect? Because I know how popular these particular home sites are. They are the best-selling, not just in Baker Ranch, but all around. Extremely hot product. But because of the limitations of where you can park, because you can't park in the drive aisles, you've got to park on the street if you don't park in the garage, it creates a kind of a problem where if there's not a parking management plan in place, you're having owners parking on the streets, using their garages for storage again. And we want to make sure that we're not going to leave that unaddressed. So there is a parking management plan in place here?
The project CC&Rs will prohibit use of the garage for purposes other than parking. And generally, the homeowners association will be responsible for monitoring the parking. So, for example, if someone leaves their car for an excessive period of time in one of the shared spaces, the homeowners association would be responsible for having that car removed or moved.
Yeah. I know that as home sites are delivered to homeowners, that gets a little more intricate, especially with a young fledgling association not yet established, because you've got just the beginnings of that. So we just want to make sure that we've done all that we can to help them to do what they need to do and make sure that people who purchase in their tracks are not going to be complaining about that. So okay, that's the only question or comment that I had. Any others for staff?
Just one on the issue with the parking management plan. What are the city's options for enforcement if the homeowners association doesn't do their homework?
Enforcement of any standard in particular? That you mean, for example, if someone parks their car for too long on the street, or?
Basically, if they have a parking management plan, if they're not complying with it, what options do we have as a city to go back and put pressure on the homeowners association to get things back in compliance?
Well, I should clarify that I don't believe that there's a parking management plan per se. There are certain parking-related regulations that would be included in the CC&Rs, but for this project, there's not a document that's considered the parking management plan. But say, for example, with the on-street public parking, the city could enforce the standard 72-hour parking regulations for that. So if a car is left for more than 72 hours, then it could be ticketed or potentially towed on the public street.
Am I correct that trying to visualize these streets, and I don't think there's any on-street parking legally allowed on Rancho or Alton anyway, just because of the nature of the streets that they are. Sunflower would be the only real street in issue, is that correct?
Well, there are streets within the tract that are public streets that are available for parking. The streets labeled R, S, and T on the map.
Those aren't private streets. Those are still public streets.
Those three are public, but all of the alleys are private.
Yes, if I could clarify, the parking management plan that we've talked about in the past is a condition that we typically place on those gated condominium-type projects. So this is a single-family detached with a public street that allows parking. And so we have requirements for rules and regulations that have to be included in the CC&R. So a little bit different approach when we use a single-family detached product. And Ron is correct. I mean, the city enforces parking on public streets. You can't park there for unlimited periods of time. And from time to time, we do get calls if a homeowners association is not enforcing the having cars parked within the garage or having your garage available for cars to be parked within. Occasionally, the city, our code enforcement gets involved in cases like that.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other questions for staff? Okay, let's go ahead and we'll open the public hearing and invite the public to come and speak. We have so far one speaker card on this, and that would be Gina Gordon. And if you'd go ahead and approach the podium and restate your name and give us your city of residence.
My name is Gina Gordon, and I live in Mission Viejo. Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Gina Gordon, and I'm here tonight on behalf of Shea Homes. Mr. Santos did an excellent job outlining our request this evening, and I'd like to thank he and staff. You guys have always been available to solve problems with us, challenges, and I really appreciate that. And as he stated, the Knowles project is probably our best seller out at Baker Ranch. We opened all 3 of those model complexes in February, and we're close to being sold out, which is why we're super excited about being able to redo this this project in the next planning area. To answer just a quick, you guys were talking about the parking management. Gail was correct. In the CC&Rs, there's language that requires the homeowners association to do, and I'm not sure if it's monthly or quarterly inspections, garage inspections, to make sure that the homeowners are parking in their garages. So that's taken care of by the homeowners association, so no need to worry about that. I don't know if there was any other questions that I could answer that Ron didn't, but I hope that you'll look favorably on the project because it is the best seller out there, and we're super excited about moving forward with it. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that wanted to address us on this item here tonight? Okay, well, seeing none, let's bring it back up here and let's have some discussion. Anyone wants to start out? Everybody jump in at once, huh?
Well, in general, first I realized that the streets I was asking about, I was looking at the wrong page, so wrong agenda item. But hence my confusion. At any rate, in general, I'm very pleased with what I've seen throughout this process. Most of the groundwork was laid before I joined this panel, but the execution of that groundwork and foundation has been phenomenal, and I'm very impressed. So,
I think I'd have to agree with CJ on that. The presentation here is very well done. There's been a lot of detail work that's gone into this to make it work, and I can see why it's been their best seller. Looks like it's a nice size house, and the pricing is pretty competitive in the market, I think, right now, especially if you compare it with 5 Points in Irvine. So I think that's a really good thing for our city. So I think it's, considering the density that you have there and the compactness of it, and it's unique because it's single family, yet it's almost like a condominium in a sense. I think it's kind of a unique concept, and apparently people like it because if it's selling that well, I don't think I want to get in the way of it.
Well, I think I prefer a traditional neighborhood where you have a street where you park on both sides, and you have a house, and you have a yard on the side, both sides, and a backyard. But I don't think that's the what we're building now. I do like the fact that you have incorporated an area for the trash, so that we can alleviate that, oh, I can't fit in my garage because I have these big, huge trash receptacles that we are required to use now. So if I had my druthers, we'd have parking on both sides of the street and everybody would have side yards, but this is a beautiful project. I love the one in Baker Ranch, and I would definitely support this particular item. Thank you.
Yeah, I too would agree with my fellow commissioners. This is you guys do a great job. You really do, and I know there's a huge market for this kind of product. It allows a lot of early move-up buyers and even first-time buyers to not go into the condominium market per se, the traditional townhome market, but more of a single family on there. It also is very popular with investors, and that's where my concerns are in the parking aspects. If you have an excessive number of non-owner occupants, they might not be quite as respectful of the other ones in their parking. Now, not that we're trying to micromanage anything, but that's up to the homeowners association, so that means it's up to the homeowners to take that effect on there. We don't want to see code enforcement being out there taking on issues that they shouldn't have, but we want to do proper planning too. I'm in favor of this project. I like it. I like everything I've seen from Shea. Okay. Any other questions or any other comments? Okay. Motion?
I'd like to move to approve this item as presented and close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Okay. Moved in second. Vote. Passes 4-0. All right. Congratulations. And that will take us to our item number 4.
This item is a tentative parcel map, and Carrie Ty has a report on this item this evening.
Good evening, Vice Chair Verplank and members of the Planning Commission. Before you tonight is a request to subdivide a 3.06-acre property at the corner of Rancho Parkway South and Alton Parkway in the Shea Baker development. The site is actually next to the Avalon Apartments, and it's very close to the Alton Parkway interchange for the 241. For those of you who have visited the Avalon Apartments, where you enter the development on Sunflower, it's the vacant site that's just to the right that's currently being used for construction staging. The site is the only non-residential site within the Shea Baker Ranch community. It's actually zoned mixed use and the Shea Baker Ranch area plan as a whole allows up to 25,000 square feet of development. So it would be all on this property, and that's a maximum. Doesn't mean that that would necessarily be ultimately the number, but that is the maximum. And it hasn't been decided exactly what the tenants are yet. Could be, it could be one building. It could be multiple buildings with multiple tenants. And I think I heard that that's what it was leaning toward. So the applicant has applied for a subdivision of the property so that any future anchor tenants that they're pursuing could have the option to own the land underneath their respective buildings if they chose to do so. However, the ultimate development of the site, we will ensure that the site does function as one comprehensive and cohesive site. It won't be separated down the middle or anything like that. And the proposed subdivision would result in 3 parcels, a larger one on the corner shown as almost 1.5 acres, and then 2 other ones, 0.61 acres and 0.58 acres. This application, as I mentioned at this time, does not include any proposals for development. However, when the time comes, any new development on this site will be reviewed and decided upon through a site development permit process, and that does come to the Planning Commission. So the public was notified of this item through publication in the newspaper, mailings to property owners within 300 feet, and also posted at the city's libraries and City Hall, and we have not received any comments regarding this item. And with that, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission adopt the attached resolution approving the requested tentative parcel map. This concludes our presentation, and I can address any questions you have. The applicant is also in the audience tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. Questions for staff? Carrie, I have a question. As I look at this, the signalized intersection is at Sunflower. So there's one driveway entrance on Rancho Parkway and one on Alton Parkway. So there are 2, correct?
Yeah, in addition to the signalized entrance at Sunflower, there's an unsignalized right-in, right-out from Rancho Parkway South.
Right.
And then there's going to be a right-in only on Alton Parkway as well.
Right, okay. So the interior circulation is going to be based on those two. Okay, where's the third one?
Oh, it comes off of Sunflower, so when anybody coming in on Sunflower, there'll be a turn
I see
into
it.
the
I see
property.
it. Okay,
Right.
fine. Okay, thank you. Okay. All right. Any speaker cards? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to us regarding this item? Okay. No? All right, well, then seeing none, let's go ahead and open the public hearing and bring it back up here and discuss it up here. Comments?
Just one for me, and that's, yeah, I like the idea of offering the landowner some flexibility for future development, especially in light of the fact that whatever that development might be, it's still going to have to come to us. So, you know, it's not like we're giving up control. We're just providing some flexibility in the process. So,
Any other comments?
I would just agree with CJ. That's looks good to me.
Okay, would you have a motion?
Motion to approve. I close the public hearing.
Second?
Okay, got them moved in second. Let's take a vote. Passes 4-0. Congratulations. And that takes us to item number 5.
Item number 5 is a site development permit and a plan sign program, along with the master landscape plan and for the Portola Center development. And Carrie Ty also has a report on this project.
Thank you. Good evening again. As mentioned, this is it's a site development permit, but it's actually for a master landscape plan, and that's what I'm going to call it for the rest of this, so I don't have to say both. Master landscape plan and a plan sign program for the Portola Center project. And just a little background for the audience and anybody watching the video streaming. The City Council approved the Portola Center project in November of 2013, and ultimately consisting of 930 homes, parks, and trails. That approval included an area plan and tentative track maps to subdivide the property. The project site is located at the intersection of Saddleback Ranch Road and Glen Ranch Road and includes 3 planning areas. The northwest planning area includes 81 homes and is accessed only from Saddleback Ranch Road. The northeast planning area includes 223 homes and is accessed from a future signalized intersection that will be constructed further down Glen Ranch Road. And then the south planning area includes 626 homes and has 2 access points. One would be shared with the northeast. It's the opposite side of Glen Ranch Road. And the second is the southern extension of current-day Saddleback Ranch Road. So that intersection will have the 4th leg completed, and that will lead to the south planning area. The approved area plan included landscape design concepts and also community and neighborhood entry concepts. The landscape design concepts included an extensive plant palette list and also general plant styling for different areas on site. And that included, for example, the public roadways of Glen Ranch Road and Saddleback Ranch Road, the perimeter slopes, interior slopes, which are like the slopes between different tiers of streets in hillside development, and also residential neighborhoods. The area plan also included entry concepts, such as a community monument at the intersection of Glen Ranch Road and Saddleback Ranch Road. And it would be it's for a new Portola Hills monument, so at the base of the slope and the walls, there'd be a tiered stack stone system with signage. And a smaller scale of that concept would also occur at the entrances to the planning areas that I mentioned. The proposed master landscape plan that we're reviewing tonight implements those area plan landscape design concepts, and it identifies in more specific detail actual plant types, actual spacing and the size of plants, and also irrigation concepts. The master landscape plan includes streetscape concepts for the view corridors that will be formed by Glen Ranch Road and Saddleback Ranch Road, also landscaping for the perimeter slopes and retaining walls, and includes a distinct street tree system for future residential streets where they put a specific type of tree on different streets to kind of establish an identity and character for those streets. The proposed community and neighborhood entries establish a sense of place by incorporating stacked stone and planter walls, trellises, wrought iron gates, specimen trees, and tiered landscape to create texture and interest. And the Master Landscape Plan and Plan Sign Program implement the concepts approved in the area plan and ensure that the landscaping throughout the whole development is installed in a manner that achieves the aesthetic goal and visions of that area plan. During the planning process for the area plan, the developer coordinated with existing Portola Hills residents to ensure that the Portola Center landscaping would blend in with the existing surroundings, such as Saddleback Ranch Road and also the nearby existing nature or vegetation found in Whiting Ranch. As such, the landscape concepts for the perimeter project are reminiscent of these areas using more native California plants, whereas the concepts found in the internal residential neighborhoods afford the developer additional flexibility for more Mediterranean character and just a greater variety of ornamental plants. And during the planning process for this application tonight, the Master Landscape Plan and Plan Sign Program, the developer did maintain a consistent dialogue with those residents, and the residents have been able to review the plans that you're looking at tonight. They were also, I know, posted on their community website as well. As part of the notification for this, we did send out notices and published in the newspaper. We received a letter of support and from Ian Morrell, who's a community resident who's involved in the planning process, and we emailed that to you as well as included it on your dais tonight. And with that, staff is recommending adoption of the attached resolutions approving the Master Landscape Plan and Plan Sign Program for Portola Center. And that concludes the staff presentation tonight. The applicant's in the audience and has a brief PowerPoint to show you. Thank you. I can advance the slides, just tell me when.
Good evening. My name is Scott Malloy with Baldwin & Sons. We're with Portola Center Project. Okay, next slide. I think Carrie did a great job of summarizing the major components of our landscape master plan, or master landscape plan. I've been calling it a landscape master plan forever. And so I just wanted to kind of touch on kind of the big picture concept of the plan. I first want to give accolades to our landscape architects, Tom Picard and Craig Cousins, who are both here tonight, and then we also had some assistance with our lighting design consultant, Kenny Perez. So there are basically 7 major objectives, goals you could call them, associated with the landscape master plan, the framework for what we came up with. Number one, obviously, a lot of work went into developing the area plan, working with the community on the slopes and the medians and the community monumentation in the public right-of-way and the stuff that they're going to see the most. And so we made a lot of changes to our design, to our landscape plant palette, in response to a lot of good feedback that we got from the community. So that is all reflected in the area plan, and so obviously our number one goal is to be consistent with the area plan. And then just as the master landscape plan is a refinement of the conceptual landscape plan and the plant palettes in the area plan, obviously we wanted to maintain compatibility with the surrounding community and the natural environment. We wanted to incorporate plants and trees and physical elements that represent the character and identity of the community, the local community and the surroundings. Fire safety and preserve adjacency were also important issues that are addressed in this plan. Obviously, landscape coverage of the retaining walls is a huge issue, particularly along the public right-of-way and the perimeter retaining walls. And then, obviously, Carrie mentioned the Mediterranean theme with the native California influence. That is sort of at the heart of the master plan. And Tom is going to talk more about this because he's very good at creating those sort of subtle transitions between different landscape areas. As you go from the more public and visible areas into the project entries and into the individual neighborhoods. He's very good at creating those transitions, so you kind of have a blending of the plant palettes as you move through the project. There's basically 5 major areas that we focused on from the beginning with the landscape plan. It was obviously the public right-of-way along Glen Ranch Road and Saddleback Ranch Road, the medians and the slopes. Secondly, the community identification sign and monumentation at the Glen Ranch Road, Saddleback Ranch Road intersection. The project neighborhood entries, which Carrie mentioned, sort of is a transition from the community identification at the intersection, and then perimeter slopes, which are not only visible from the public in some cases, but also adjacent to the wildlands and preserve areas, and then finally the interior streets and slopes. And this exhibit just shows, as an example, on the north plan where those areas are. And I'm going to turn it over to Tom to kind of touch on the individual, the 5 major areas that sort of drove the development of the master plan.
Hi, my name is Tom Picard. I'm the landscape architect with Tributary LA Inc. out of Carlsbad. I wasn't told I was going to be speaking, so I'm not prepared, but I'm really good at winging things, so just be patient with me. I just want to overemphasize that the point of what we're trying to do is we have a very naturalized area to the south of this project, and we want to blend in with that and subtly go from there into the core of the community, of which the client has wanted to go with the early California Mediterranean theme, and that's more of your olives and cypress and that kind of material. The concept based on that is really focused on what plant materials we can get to comply with what native materials are available and what provides adequate erosion control. And that's the tough part. So we worked with the neighbors, and they've been very cooperative. And what we're basically doing is taking the landscape around the perimeter, and that includes Glen Ranch Road, as you're seeing right here, going from almost strictly native or naturalized material on the southern end. And as we get into the big slopes in the middle of the project, which include Glen Ranch Road and Saddleback Ranch Road, those are going to be a combination of more naturalized shrubs that take all low water. So one of the main purposes that goals we're trying to accomplish is low water and low maintenance. If there's low maintenance, that means it's going to look good over a longer period of time. Go ahead. What we're seeing here is just basically the main entry at Saddleback Ranch. It's looking north up Saddleback Ranch Road from Glen Ranch Road. Glen Ranch Road is proposed to have Quercus ilex, or I believe it's holly oak. We did that for low water use, but it's also one of the few oaks that grow vertical, so we don't get trucks as driving by are going to prune the trees with that nice little square look to it. On Saddleback Ranch Road, we're doing Tristania conferta, which was basically an agreement that we discussed with the homeowners on what they're proposing to do further up their street. So what we not only want to blend with our internal work, the external open space, but we want to blend seamlessly in with the existing neighborhood to the north. Go ahead. The materials on this we're trying to incorporate boulders and stone and heavy timbers. In this case, the sign itself, we need to get a contrast so it pops out a little bit more, so we are going to use more of a plaster finish. You can barely see in there that we'd be using boulders in the foreground, and the owner has committed to get a tree that is a 10-foot box tree to be our specimen that goes in from the get-go. So a massive tree like this would occur at the beginning at Glen Ranch and Saddleback, as well as the first neighborhood entry at Street D, which goes into the Northwest Project in Saddleback. I think we've seen that. That's okay. This is the entrance to the individual neighborhood. So you can see we're using another massive oak, and that would be the Quercus agrifolia, the coast live oak, of which the residents, I'll give them credit, they gave us the influence on that one. And this is where you can start seeing the Mediterranean flair coming in with the Phoenix date palms and the ornamental iron used on the gates. Plan view of it. I don't know what to say. It's to me, it looks good. I mean, we've beaten this to death over the past couple of years, so it's in that case we're using decorative pavers to go through the entry and using a contrasting color and materials at the crosswalks for the pedestrian crossings. These are the perimeter trails. Along the perimeter trails, if you may remember, we have exercise stations and pads going down there. That continues primarily on the south, where it somewhat creates an entire loop around the project where it connects up to Glen Ranch Road in 2 locations. This is just the very northwest corner where it connects our neighborhood, our first neighborhood, to the trail system and the open space to the west. This is our street tree plan, and I'm not going to babble off what all the different trees are, but it's just, if you can tell the colors, we're just trying to like Carrie identified, we're trying to get an identity with each street in each neighborhood. So I live on the one with the purple orchid tree. Again, this is, that's funny, Scott called them major areas. I would say distinct areas, not major areas, because this is just a simple slope in between the pads. This one would be a little bit more ornate than the perimeter ones. What you see in the middle there with the arrows is a drainage ditch and the MSC wall that would I forget the maximum height on that, but our focus on this one is really trying to maximize the efficiency and speed of covering up the MSC walls, and not only through trees but really through climbing vines and cascading material. Thanks. I can answer. I'm here to answer your questions.
For not being prepared to speak, you did all right.
Thank you.
We would appreciate it if you would fill out a speaker's card and turn it in before you leave. So we do thank you for that. Are there any questions that we have? No? Good. Oh, all right.
I think I read that some of the slopes were not owned by the association, or were they individually owned by property owners?
You know, as far as I know, everything that we are showing as a manufactured slope is owned by the master HOA. There is even some questionable areas around the northwest perimeter that we had to tighten up for the brush management criteria that go right on the fringe of, I think it's SDG in the easement area, but in the end, I believe that was all backed off.
Oh, maybe that was, okay.
It's all part of the HOA now.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
Okay, thank you. All right. Well, Scott was one of the speakers, I guess. Have you already used up your card? Okay. We have another speaker, Barbara Taylor. If you would please restate your name and city of residence for us, we'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Taylor. I live in Portola Hills. I'm here representing the Bella Palermo Homeowners Association. I'm an officer on the board. And we support the project. We've, as Scott and Tom have said, we have met with them multiple times, talking about the plant palette, talking about the landscape, talking about how to make the new development fit in with the existing development. So it's not just a new thing just plopped where it stands out. So it should flow all together. And we've worked with them. They've listened to our concerns and listened to our suggestions, and I think what we have now is a good project. The Planning Commission, I know you've been here for a while. The rest of you haven't, but it's been a good process. We've worked with the city, and so we support this. Look forward to it. And we did put the plans up on we have a local Facebook page with Scott's permission. We put them up on our Inside Portola Hills page for people to have comments for the last couple weeks, and all the comments were positive. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Good to see you again. All right. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the commission on this item? Okay. We kind of got a little bit ahead of ourselves. Did anyone have any commission members have any questions for staff? No, then let's go ahead and did we open the public hearing? I don't think we did. So let's go ahead and open the public hearing then, make that official, and bring it back up here for discussion. How's that? I'm out of practice, you know. Chairman Hamilton, Chairman Hamilton really, you know, hard shoes to fill. Okay? Any comments?
I've been quite impressed with the quality of the landscaping that you've proposed for this and the way it merges with the existing neighborhood. I can see why the residents like it. It definitely dresses up that whole area. It makes it really look like Portola Hills now. It really is the high-class development that it is. Before, the entry up into that area was kind of not there. So I think this will really dress it up a lot. I think it will really improve the look of that neighborhood a great deal. I think you're to be commended for the amount of effort you put into developing this landscaping.
Well, I was only concerned about that tree. I thought it's probably going to come in looking like this, and if you say they're coming in with a big one, I think it's beautiful. And I look forward to seeing the end result.
A couple of quick observations. First, I wanted to take a moment. I know we don't specifically respond back and forth the nature of our relationship with the dais and public comments, but just to highlight very quickly the letter that was sent by Ian Morrell. For those who don't know, who might be watching, when I first met Ian, it was earlier in this process. I wasn't even on the Planning Commission yet. He was very much against this project. He was very outspoken and very well-spoken in his disdain for the original proposal. And to read this letter that he sent that was glowing in its remarks and pointing out all of the positives that have come over years of back and forth and discussion that was alluded to by earlier speakers, I'm very proud to be part of a community where that happens, where we all come together, we get it right. So just wanted to put that on the record. Saddleback Ranch Road and Glen Ranch Road, that intersection, I am, more than anything, I'm looking forward to the traffic easing components that I know are in here. I can't wait for that to happen and get done. I was up there a couple nights ago making sure that my campaign signs had been picked up properly and that there weren't any still up there. And hopefully I got them all, but I think I almost got killed 3 times by people coming around that corner at 60 miles an hour. I thought one guy was going to roll his Ford Explorer. I mean, didn't slow down for the intersection or anything, and off of Saddleback and on the Glen Ranch, and tires squealing, and it's crazy how people drive down those 2 streets, especially in the evening when it's not quite as busy. And so I'm very much looking forward to that, and that's it.
Cool. Well, I've been with this project since it began. I got on this commission, it'll be 10 years ago, the first of the year, and one of my first contacts with the public was the people up in Portola Hills when this project was just in the formulative stages. And I have to say that this is probably the single project, at least that I'm aware of, but I think I'm accurate in that, where there's been such a collaborative effort between the citizens and the developer and the city to bring about such a project. And as Commissioner Brower's already stated, when this project first came online, there was huge opposition, absolute huge opposition. But because people were willing to sit down and come together and take the time to work through the issues, instead of just digging their heels in and standing on their position, we have what I think is going to be one of the most beautiful projects in the city that's going to come out of this. I think that the owners of the property, the developers, have been extremely receptive to all the input, and they've worked hard to bring us what I think is just a fabulous project, and I'm looking forward to it like I think everybody else is here too. I think that we're fortunate. We have been blessed in this city with a number of developers who really are bringing good stuff into our city, and you know, generations to come are going to be the beneficiaries of that. It's going to be long term. So I'm excited to see this. I think we need to approve this and move on. So who's going to bring a motion?
Well, I'd close the public hearing and make a motion to accept item 5 as presented.
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Let's vote. Let's keep moving forward. Congratulations. Okay, golly, that looks like we almost came to the end of tonight's work, but I think there's a couple of things that we still need to kind of take care of. One is, I didn't welcome Hung Dao tonight, but we're glad that you're here tonight. Always a pleasure to have you here. So anyone want to go ahead and, let's see, director's comments. Let's see if we have any director's comments tonight.
I say that often. I'm glad you're here. I say that every morning when I walk through the halls. So as you know, Council-elect Hamilton is not here this evening, but we did buy a gift for him from the commission, and we'll give that to him on Tuesday. And so Tuesday night there is a reception for outgoing council members Bass and McCullough before the council meeting. It's at 5:30. And so that's on Tuesday night. And as some of you may know, but I will officially announce, Cheryl Kuta, our planning manager, she's been with the city for 13 years. She's my right-hand person and has done a fabulous job. Cheryl's accepted a job as the Director of Development Services for the city of Rancho Santa Margarita. So congratulations on a much-deserved promotion and a great opportunity for Cheryl. Which brings me to Jennifer. So Jennifer is on family leave. And earlier this evening, in the audience, young man Brian Fernandez is filling in for Jennifer. And so you'll have a chance to meet Brian. He'll be bringing some items forward. And the other addition, a temporary addition to our staff, is a gentleman named Peter Lynch, who will be helping us out as Stephanie Rojas, our assistant planner, has accepted a promotion and has actually moved on to the city of Costa Mesa as an associate planner. A fabulous move for Stephanie and a great opportunity as well. And so I think that's it. I think that's it for now. So glad to see Hung Dao here and Carrie. So we'll be, we have one meeting, just this meeting for November. We have one meeting scheduled in December, and we'll take care of all the business that we have at hand.
Cool. Awesome. And our Assistant City Attorney here tonight, representing.
Thank you for the kind welcome, Commissioners. I have no comment for tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, I think it might be appropriate if we ask our planning manager if she had a comment tonight, since this is her last opportunity to really express herself to us.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's kind of surreal thinking this is the last public meeting for me here at the city. As Gail mentioned, I've been here 13 years and 7 years in this seat as the planning manager. So more than half my time was spent here with all of you. It's been great working with the Planning Commission through the years. We've had some great projects and some challenges, and we've always got through it because everyone is so professional, and it's been a great learning experience. Gail's been a great mentor for me for all these years, and I'm sad to leave Lake Forest, but I am very grateful for the opportunity that I have. Thank you.
Well, Rancho Santa Margarita's gain is going to be Lake Forest loss. We are going to miss you, and we wish you all the best. Yeah. All right. Let's start down on the far end. Commissioner Ledden?
Well, Cheryl, we will definitely miss you, and congratulations on your promotion and your new position there. I'm sure you'll do very well. Rancho Santa Margarita will be very glad to have you. And you'll have some hard shoes to fill when you leave. But I'm sure Gail's got a solution in mind.
I do.
Anyway, no, but congratulations to you. We really do appreciate all the work that you've done for the city of Lake Forest, and the quality of the projects here, I think, is a reflection of your efforts. And thank you so much. And, this has been an interesting night. I thought maybe we'd see a little more fireworks on the last one, but I'm glad that everybody was happy with the project, because I thought it really was nice. And I think you did a great job on that, Carrie, on your projects tonight. You Great presentations, thank you. Same to Ron also.
Commissioner Fuentes?
Thank you. So we just must have a great breeding planner's ground here, and I think that's all of thanks to some great staff, but particularly to Gail, because I believe that she's your mentor and she's the one that's leading the force, which is why we have great presentations like we had tonight. And I think it's kind of exciting that you, Cheryl, were able to kind of see the sports park open, see this great Portola Ranch come to almost fruition, at least in its beginning stages, and you were part of it all. And so we will miss you. Thank you.
Commissioner Brower?
I don't even know where to begin. Everybody's already said everything. I'm trying to think of something new, but congratulations on the opportunity. It's certainly well deserved, and we will certainly miss you here. I know that we do have a phenomenal team in place to be able to fill the workload, if not the void. So, other than that, congratulations to the Lake Forest Little League AA Team Orange for their first ever playoff win, 17-10 last Sunday. So, still got a couple rounds left if things go well. But for these kids, it was their first ever playoff experience, so it was a lot of fun. So, other than that, great night tonight, and thank you.
That's awesome. Once again, great projects by staff, presentations. Cheryl, it truly has been a pleasure. A lot of projects that we've had an opportunity to work together with, while I've been on this commission, and especially the last 7 years. Look at all the new home sites. Sometimes we got out and walked around places, and you were the taxi. A lot of fine memories, and we know you're going to do really well up there. We hope you don't forget that we're here and come back and visit once in a while, and you just might have one or two of us show up at a meeting up there sometime to see how you're doing. Yeah. Again, you know what? Excellent job. It is such a pleasure to work with such professionals, and I really mean that for all of you, and here too on this panel. I want to take time to wish everybody just a happy and blessed Thanksgiving. Okay. No, I don't. But I want to go ahead and we will officially close this meeting and adjourn to the next regular scheduled meeting, and we ask you all to hold your seat for just something special. All right, now.